And we're back. So it's been a good minute, and I know that I said I was going to be back with the final HYHO Reddit YouTuber edition. And of course, Hayden lied. Well, sort of. I'm kind of working with the two people that I'm doing the last HYHO on. I'm waiting for them to get back to me, and so, because, everyone's just sitting around waiting for it, like biting their fucking fingernails, I know. It'll be up when it can. But I thought I could take the time today, because I actually have some free time, to actually make an occult video. If you've been one of the people who stayed with this channel, like, from the beginning, I was, always going to eventually get into talking about the occult, but the thing is that, as your perspectives change, you kind of just push things to the side, and so, as I've mentioned before, a big part of this channel has been documenting kind of where I am mentally, and my perspective. I really like going back, looking back, and comparing, seeing where I was, and wondering where I'll be next. Am I always expecting to change a mindset? No, but that's just the way it's seemed to have been happening. So I've never gotten too deep actually into the occult or what I view about it, or, too much about it. If you watch the Self-Mastery series, I understand why a lot of people say, that's really watered down occultism. Yes, a big point of that series also was, a lot of people who follow the law of attraction don't understand, the New Thought movement, where it comes from, its occult roots, all of that at the end of the day. And so I guess I was trying to also get that idea across and to, attribute myself more to that audience. Either way, it's why we've moved past from that, but I'd like to talk more about the occult. However, it's not going to be like what you hear normally. I'm not going to talk about hermetic laws too much. I'm not going to talk about spell casting. I might do those things every now and again. What I have planned soon, because of, if you've seen the I Don't Know video, I've kind of gone atheist, if you didn't get the hint. And it was kind of weird how it happened. Basically, at the end of the day, Magick made me atheist. It's kind of cool how it happened. Very synchronous, or very I don't know what you would call that, but it's kind of strange too if you do magic for skepticism and then you get so much of it and then you become atheist, and it's like, it's just kind of weird. And I know occultists can, definitely, I know that occultists who've been practicing long enough can find that you can actually get yourself into slippery situations. It's funny enough, in cases where I've done magic to where it cancels itself out. It's like that shouldn't work. Magic should not work against itself, but by definition, I think it should. Let's get into what this video is actually supposed to be about, because I'm really just mentally masturbating, rambling on. There's plenty of things I've been wanting to talk about over the past few months that have come from this mindset. The Frater Xavier video, that is something that's come up from this mindset. I know that, someone might have already come up with that concept or come to that conclusion before, and they're completely in a new age, reptilian conspiratorial mindset. It's just to show that, as I've said, everyone's different. Everyone's on a different level, not a higher or different level. It's side by side. It's like a line, honestly. And another point of that Frater Xavier video was to point out that you can literally conceptualize, you can speculate about anything. This is why you should take conspiracy theories with a grain of salt, because for all I know, I don't know if that was his true motive in the beginning, I'm going to be anonymous and this and that. I think he just doesn't want to be praised. I can completely understand that. But you can really conceptualize, you can really speculate just about anything. I used to make a joke with some of my close friends about Frater Xavier actually being a prison inmate. Because if you actually watch through the early mystery schools, you don't see the guy, he's telling you, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do this, and this is how this works. And whenever he talks about his personal life, he's talking about working out in the yard. So I kind of made some little conspiracy theory between me and my friends. It's yeah, he's in federal prison. They let him have a laptop, and he's trying to get enough money to get out of there. But I can assure you that's not true. He is not in prison. But you can just about speculate anything, and this is what's great about the occult, is because you've got the nature of God and you've got tons of people just speculating. The problem comes, I've noticed, when you take things too seriously, especially when I notice a lot of people take things seriously that really contradict it really contradicts itself, and I can't see how they fit that together. I can sort of see it because I've been there before, but I'd have to say, through this weird mindset of me going from where I was to basically atheist now, and still kind of like weirded out because I was kind of testing out Magick in a weird way, and it kind of worked. I'd never expect myself to be here in this type of mentality before, so it's kind of strange how it happened. And so in a sense that I just want to be like, fuck it, none of it's real, want to do my own thing. It's kind of like, oh, this is weird. I would suggest occultists to even try this. Those of you with really strong Virgo placements, you should have a blast. Simply just work with Mercury. But done masturbating, it's time to get into what I wanted to talk about. I've left some notes, I know before. I plan to do more occult topics. I want to talk about King James. I want to talk about the Ritual Diary. I want to talk about why you should rip out chapter 2 out of every occult book that you have. I want to talk about modern occultism, actually mixing technology with ceremonial magic. But these are plenty of things I want to get on past this video. I want to basically get out kind of where my frame of mind is. And you have to realize that everybody, if you want to take that everybody's on a spiritual journey, you could say that atheism is part of mine and skepticism is too. You got to realize that there's gold in all perspectives. A lot of occultists talk about paradigm shifting. However, when it comes to paradigm shifting, what you have to do is you have to refurnish the house. What a lot of people do when they think they're paradigm shifting, what they do is they rearrange their bookshelf, their bed, their dresser, and it's a lot different. It's like, and it can feel good. It can get you different results, so to speak. But there is true beauty when you refurnish the mental room, so to speak. There's beauty in all mindsets, and there's gold in all mindsets if you're willing to look for it. I think this is an important component of what people call being a magician. You see, the magician can find results and find a formula and find a way to get things through whatever means. You see people like Alex Mayer making money. How come there's people that are getting better than what you're casting for, and the things that you're casting for you're sometimes not getting? I have to say that some people can't do magic. Some people aren't made for it. Some people, a lot of the people that aren't made for it, don't even buy into it. So it's great. They don't even have to try to work it out. And they're like, why isn't this working? I think it's a shame when a lot of occultists basically say that you're doing magic wrong. I understand that the old grimoires have a very quote unquote scientific formula. I'll get into that in another video, but it's the same concept as basically your pastor telling you just didn't pray hard enough. I'm sorry, but that's just what it is. That's just what it is. And I just want to tell you out there, if magic's not working for you, you need to drop it for a moment. You need to move beyond that realm. See, a lot of occultists, believe it or not, let's take this elemental: earth, water, air, fire. They all want the fire, they're Prometheus, basically. They want to steal the fire from the gods, they want to get away from Earth as much as possible. Earth is very materialistic. It's viewed as a bad thing most of the time in most spiritual circles. And I know that a lot of people in the occult New Age community are moving away from that. And it's fucking wonderful. It's a step up. It's a move from the Dark Ages. And it's going somewhere. But I think we need to be pushed in different areas as well if we really want to evolve this sort of thing, because as much as people want to mix occultism and religion and things of these nature, if things don't evolve, they're going to be left in the dust. It's basically mental natural selection almost. I guess. I don't know. That's a terrible way of putting it, actually. But basically, don't let anybody tell you that your magic didn't work because this didn't work and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I've had things manifest going against the rules and for the rules. So in that case, what do we say? What do we say? It's like, is there any weight to this at all? I think so. And I'm going to go over why I still think that there's validity in magic. As I said, people find different ways. Jesus. people find different ways to get results. At the end of the day, the trouble happens when we keep trying the same thing that's like not working, and we call it insanity. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it's sad to see. It's sad to see new people come to the occult nowadays. I'm not gonna lie, you see them a lot online because my best advice for any new occultist, I'm gonna be honest, don't believe in curses. Absolutely don't believe in curses. Just don't even believe in them. You won't even have to deal with them. See, a lot of people get into the occult and then they're like, well, I'm seeing things in the night and I'm hearing things. And it goes back to the concept of those who go looking for demons seem to find them. You watch enough reptilian videos or alien videos, you start to see them. You see something in the sky, you think it's a UFO. That's just how these things work. See, people get into the occult and then they think they're being watched and they get paranoid and they're like, and so bad things are happening to them that would have happened already. And they think that they're being spiritually attacked or they're being cursed. And here's the thing. It's all in your head, usually. Even occultists talk about this nowadays as being self-imposed curses or self-imposed jinx, etc. There is a thing such as mental poisoning. But if you're just now getting into the occult and bad things are happening to you, there is not somebody hanging out in their closet casting. There's nobody hiding out in the middle of the woods casting spirits to come and do you harm. I know that a lot of people will have something to say about that, but we can get into a whole nother video. But there are problems that come whenever you start to believe in curses. You start to look at certain things spiritually that could actually be physical. This is where you get types of religious people that won't get medical help because they think that Jesus is going to somehow heal something within them just out of nowhere. And yeah, I know people go to the hospital and they're like, some people die or they don't actually die, but someone prays and they come back to life. But what about the people that come back to life that didn't get prayed for? Like I said, what about the people that look like their life is magical, even though they're not doing magic? You see, that's some good advice. Don't look at an occultist right now. Look at people who practically look like they would be doing magic, as if it was this thing that you could like just bring billions to you and this and that, and start kind of looking and reading between the lines of what they say. As much as I talk shit about Alex Mayer, really read between the lines and you can learn some things, some tactics that he uses, and I tried to hint at them in those videos. I got a little bit of bad feedback, but I tried my fucking best. At the end of the day, he kind of is a jackass and a scam artist, which brings me next to, Magick on the surface is a scam. A lot of the New Age books, it's like promising this eternal peace and riches and sex and money and all this. And it's like when you go into the bathroom, and it's like when you go to a public bathroom and there's a little church pamphlet and it's, here's your keys to the kingdom of heaven. You see, a lot of people who are occultists most of the time come from religion. A lot of them end up staying in that. A lot of them are like, oh, I'm Christian occultist. But some actually, go as far to say, oh, I'm ex-Christian, I'm ex-Muslim, I'm ex-JW, I'm ex-Mormon, I'm ex... You don't meet many ex-Jews in the occult. However, I just met one last week. No, I met an atheist Jew last week. Okay, which, funny enough, a big portion of Jews actually are atheists because it's actually a more of a cultural thing. You can look more into that, but that's what I was told also last week. I already knew about that, but I'm getting to meet more people with different mindsets. That's the thing. The beauty happens when you find people who you don't think that you'd agree with at all, and then you get to let them paint you a mental image, and it's really quite wonderful. And that's what I hope I can do here. I don't think that these things that I'm saying are grand, but I think that you might think of something grand from it. It's like the lunatic that comes up with an idea that's a little wonky, but the second guy that comes along that actually perfects it. I hope that somebody comes along and perfects what I feel like I'm trying to say. I have a very Gemini mind. My birth chart has a Gemini moon. And then I have Mercury and Sun conjunct in Virgo. So you can kind of see where that's going. But either way, I have some notes because basically over the past like month that I haven't posted, I've wanted to speak on some few things about the occult before I actually get into talking about occult topics. Just because I do hear that my channel is really confusing, and I understand that. At times I'm going through cognitive dissonance. I'm not going to lie. I've found beauty in it, in a way. Not a lot at all. You want to get out of cognitive dissonance, you know what I mean, as much as possible. Another thing, people don't seem to know what that is. I had a guy recently, about a month or so ago at work, he was telling me that he hates like 3 groups of people, and he like named 2 of them, and the third one was people with cognitive dissonance. And I was like, why do you hate people with, because everybody basically goes through it in one way or another. We push to the side sometimes if we're actually focusing on whatever it is that's contending, we can get into some trouble. But he explained it like, oh, it's people that will basically look at the sky and say it's not blue and this and that. And basically he was explaining it as somebody who's just demonstrably wrong or being stubborn. And the thing is that conspiracy theorists also pull this bullshit when they're like, oh, you don't believe what I say. You're disregarding that George Bush is a reptilian, therefore you're going through cognitive dissonance. No, that's not what it is. I'll give you the easiest feeling. If you're a smoker out there, you ever gone to the dentist, and then whenever the dentist is talking to you at the end and they're like, hey, you don't need to be smoking, if you smoke, this will happen. They start talking to you. It makes you feel a little tense, you say at the end of the day, oh, I don't give a fuck, but trust me, you can't get rid of the cog dissonance. It's that little contention that you feel when you have 2 opposing things in the mind. You've got, I like to smoke. And then on the other hand, you've got, I know that it's bad for me. And so you have to reconcile it. And if you don't, you have that tension. It's that feeling. You can't see cognitive dissonance. Well, you can if, the dentist knows that the patient is going through that the moment it mentions it. That's just something that's automatically happening. But cognitive dissonance is that feeling. So when you look at someone and say, hey, is the sky blue? And they say no. I mean, sure, I guess they feel that if they know that it's not blue and they're saying that, but that's, it just seems that people just don't seem to know what that means at all. And I see that a lot, not just in that, but in New Agers too. Whenever you're trying to talk to any of them and they're explaining something and you kind of like say, hey, there's a problem with this. They're like, no, you're just having cognitive dissonance. That's not what it is. Actually, they are, and instead of dealing with their own cognitive dissonance, they want to point the finger and say, you do. See, I'm admitting I am going through cognitive dissonance right now. I am trying to reconcile these things. That's why I have questions. That's why I'm kind of going off the deep end in a way. But I got some notes here. I mentioned in that last video the occult flaws that basically at this point I only do like 5% magic. I don't do a lot of magic anymore. But there's the thing about it. Here's what I think. Here's what holds the most weight with me. Magic taught me how to go and get what I desired. Not by spell casting, just through taking action. This is why the end of the self-mastery series was so much about taking action. This whole channel is like a reflection of my own journey in a sense. That was the point of my documentation. It's the point in the first video why I watched this. I say that there's reasons for this channel that I can't really go over right now, otherwise it would kind of defeat some of the purpose. But in the sense, I needed to get something out, and I wanted to see where I was at, because I noticed my mindsets were just constantly changing. And so I was like, let's see what's next, and let's, look back, because all I can do is think back at the ones before I even started the YouTube channel, and we'll go over that in a whole nother video. There's a whole time I was a complete conspiracy theorist. I liked Alex Jones. But Magick taught me how to go and get what I want at the end of the day. It doesn't for everybody. It teaches people different things. Some people, it teaches them how to know themselves. Some people, it teaches them how to reconcile some things that they've never been able to come to terms with, like from things in their childhood or anything. You hear so many stories, you know what I'm saying? But it's like a family member that I go and visit from time to time, basically. I'm not constantly hanging out. Magick's not a roommate anymore. I'm not trying to make it out like Magick is some training wheels sort of thing. Some people do magic all the time, and that's when they're getting the best results. I think that whatever is working for you, you should go for it. I think you should definitely try testing other things out to make sure that, there isn't something better. I also have always said that if you are an occultist, sometimes take a break. It's actually mentally healthy for you, and if you take the advice of actually going and seeing a therapist, a psychologist, like some of the books actually tell you to do, they'll tell you to take a break. It's something that a lot of people need, and it's something that can actually ground you. You want to understand the element of earth, fellas? Don't open a mystical text for like a month. Just live in your normal job and do your thing. You can meditate, of course, you can do all that, but just you stay out of watching the video, stay out of being in that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because the moment you start reading those things, you're not really in earth anymore. I'm trying to find more notes that I wanted to speak on. At the end of the day, I see validity in magic. People just seem to get what they want in a weird way. But I want to mention something about Mercury for those of you occultists. Because I know that there's people on this channel who don't even believe in magic. And I think that's just fine. I think I'm happy you still hang around, honestly. I'm trying to do more secular videos that don't have to do anything with spirituality to also, attribute to them. But Mercury, why does it rule magic and logic? Why the hell would it rule both? Let's think about this. When we see I had a deck of playing cards right here. But either way, whenever you see a magic trick or you see a card trick, right? You see it, and what your senses are telling you is like, oh my God, holy shit. What's going on right now? And of course, logically that there's a trick, but you don't know what it is. But you know what feels better? Going with just seeing it and being like, wow. If you ever watch a magic trick and then see how it's done, it's like, wow. And you just kind of can't unsee it. You see, Mercury rules over magic and logic because when you apply logic to magic, you do realize that it's a trick. There's a trick. Not like there's a trick to it, like there's a right way to do it. Meaning it's like a troll. It's a trick. It's a trick that works. And this is why Mercury, whenever it goes retrograde, becomes the trickster, so to speak. I want you to really ponder on that. Now, another thing, people like to say magic is scientific. No, it's an art. See, magic isn't science, and I hear people say they're like, well, meditation is scientifically proven. Yes. It doesn't make meditation science. It doesn't make magic science. Magic is, what I would say, technically, let's say you could prove everything, right, in the occult. I would say that astrology would be the science, and planetary magic would be the method of applying that science. Magic is a method. It's an art. I don't think it's a science at all at this point. It can't be. And I know people are like, well, you start journaling and that makes it scientific. No, that makes it experimental at best, but it's not scientific. Occultists do not do peer-to-peer research. You can't. I've actually tried to with occultists, and it just doesn't work out. A lot of them aren't serious. Working with occultists have been the hardest people in my life to work with. I'm not going to lie. And I know I got a comment last week where someone was mentioning something about if you actually meet an occultist in real life, it's kind of, and it's certainly true. It's certainly true. I'll tell you for a fact, the people I work with, they don't think I'm into anything that I'm into. I even have that one guy, Daniel, who still come up to me and talk about all of his astral projections and this and that, but he just says it to everyone. He tells people he has the power to heal them and teleport from parties to parties. It's the funniest thing. but it's magic's not scientific. I'm gonna explain to you occultists later why you don't want it to be scientific. That's gonna just take away a lot from what magic truly is. It's an art. Think about music. Sure, music has kind of been put into scientific forms, like through, music theory. If you study music theory, it gets pretty fucking deep. But, to say that you journal your magic and you write your experiences and you redo what worked and this and that does not make it scientific. That's like saying, well, I recorded my jam sessions, I recorded my improv sessions, my random just at the end of the night guitar, whatever. I recorded myself singing. I looked back and saw which times I was singing better, and it doesn't make it scientific. You still, at the end of the day, you're just playing music. You're just enjoying your art. Magic is an art. It's why it has to be practice. Science has things down to formulas and actual methods that obtain the same result each time. Every time I pick up this phone, it will always fall. It will always fall at 8.67 meters per second, I think, or something like that. It will always fall every time. And for magic, it just doesn't work. And a part of the reason I didn't get along with most occultists is that I would actually point out the times that I would miss in magic instead of just looking at all the hits. And it seemed that other occultists just wanted to look at all the hits and not the misses. And then the ones that do were like, well, it didn't work because of this. Oh, you just didn't pray hard enough. This is why I technically do 5% magic. I do it at the very end. I've done everything that I can. I might do something magical for it, and then afterwards I go out and I make sure I fucking get it. So at the end of the day, I don't even care if the magic worked, and even if there is a cool synchronicity with it, you just fucking cool synchronicity, and you move on with life. Because at the end of the day, we're still here, we're in these flesh and bodies, we can't get out. A lot of people use the occult for escapism, and that's certainly prevalent, but I want to get out of this whole magic is scientific, and certainly I don't know why occultists would want to prove that it's scientific. With as much as occultists throughout history have had trouble with government, so to speak, I don't know why the hell they would want to scientifically prove it. Could you imagine quantifying magic, like getting it down to like metrics and measurements and like understanding how to harness it? Like imagine magical generators, you know what I'm saying? Like, could you imagine the type of control that a government would be able to have? You know what I'm saying? If you proved it was real, imagine having it almost like the internet, where, technically, this is what I've heard, the internet's free, you just pay to have your connection to it. The companies, block off your connection to the internet. I don't know. Either way, I would consider it kind of like the internet. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine the government implying certain things that basically cut off that sort of thing? And I know people are like, oh my god, but there's Wi-Fi and there's chemtrails and they've been doing it all along. There's still no proof for that. See, this is why magic isn't scientific, because just because you're like, oh well, I did this then and it worked, but I did it a different way and it didn't work, so I'm gonna do it like this again, it doesn't prove that the magic worked. It's like if I pray for a raise over the next 3 months. If I get a raise, it didn't happen because I prayed for it. I've gotten raises without having to pray for it to do magic. I've gotten plenty of the things that I've gotten. To be honest, sometimes magic works in really fucking weird ways. And a lot of cultists are very dogmatic because they come from religion, as I've said. I'm going to be honest. Magic seemed to work more for me whenever I stopped believing in it so much. Believe it or not. Wow, how does that work? Magic. See, when you're doing magic in life, there's no controlled experiment. There's so many variables to life. I don't think we can even scientifically prove it. I still think magic is like unfalsifiable. Because how do you quantify and calculate every influence you have? Not just in magic, but like imagine you're walking down the street, and just the way you look, your gesture, your posture, the way you walk, and then also the people around you and the people that are around them. How is everybody influencing everyone's behavior and thoughts as everyone's walking past? I don't think that can be. I don't think science will get that deep with it, and so I don't really think magic will be scientifically proven. I don't think that the double slit experiment really points to anything magical. It points to something strange. It points to something very strange, but it doesn't point to anything magical. Something that would be magical would be to do something that were outside of its bounds. Take using magic. See, people in science have tried to use magic to make plants grow. And certainly the plants will grow higher whenever they use certain methods under controlled experiments. But here's the thing. You got to think that the plant would have grown already. It's not doing anything out of the ordinary. And there's also plants that don't have it done that actually grow higher than that. But out of the group, they grow higher. So you got to realize that there is a very subjective side to magic, and you cannot attribute it to objective reality too much. Crowley even quoted this at one point. I don't remember what he said exactly, but he's talking about the Sephiroth, and basically don't apply them to objective reality. That's when you can get into trouble. You get dogmatic. A lot of occultists talk shit about religion, but yet they're stuck in some of the same mindsets. I've recently met a lot of occult Atheist recently online on Reddit. Magic seems and also aims to score above chance most of the time. That's what I've seen. But it never jumps out of potentiality, so to speak. I've found that you don't even have to use magic. Just go look up Jason Miller and find his concept. It's in multiple books. You could probably find it on one of his videos. He talks about making your life enchantable. It's the most important thing. You could literally just only get results from doing that. That's what I've been doing over the past 6 months, and it's been working better than anything. That's why I say do magic 5%. Just start making your life enchantable. Before you'd cast for money. If you don't have a job, it's going to be hard to get the money. So you'd make your life enchantable by getting a job. And people were like, wow, this is common sense. But you wouldn't believe how many people would think that, but then they don't actually put it to work and action. And I think in the occult, making your life enchantable is so important and can literally get you so much more results that, like, some people don't even have to touch magic. Some people don't even have to touch a sigil. That's all they have to do. That's all I've been doing right now, and it's been working better than ever. As I said, there's gold in all mindsets. I know that some people are going to pose the whole skeptical atheist mindset, and it's going to come out a lot more in some videos. Sorry. Okay, so I ran out of camera space. So I'm just going to loop this little video of me staring at the camera. Either way, so some things I want to get out before I finish the video is that, sure, magic works for me and things certainly pop off and it's cool to witness synchronicity, but I don't want to push this on anybody. At the end of the day, the question should be, why should we care about magic? A lot of people would say, oh, you can self-liberate yourself. And basically it sounds very religious. It sounds like most of the entrepreneur scams you hear. Oh, you can do this and everybody needs to do this. Sure, I think you should try it. And if it doesn't work, try it again. But don't become insane. Don't keep doing it expecting a different result. If things stop working, start picking up something that is working. That's where I've gotten my best results so far. And also, make sure you are actually changing your mindset. As much as occultists, as I say, they want to say that they're paradigm shifting. A lot of them are actually just rearranging the furniture. So test yourself today. If you oppose my mindset, or if you're one of those occultists who think that atheism is just the stupidest thing and that they just worship science, lol. Test yourself. Cast to become an atheist. Cast for skepticism. Either way, I'm back now for about 10 seconds. Just wanted to say bye. Really enjoyed making this video. There's a lot more I wanted to talk about, like 20, 30 more minutes more. We'll get to that eventually. Either way, I just need to post something for now because it's been a month. Miss making videos. Just glad to be back. Either way, I will for you all to prosper. And have a great day.